right, we are in here, people. What's up? What's up? What's up, my people? Come on in this room. Come on in this room. Let me go ahead and share this video real quick. Y'all like and share the video, by the way. Like and share the video.
All
We got
right.
the Chaos family in the building. Got the whole Chaos family in the building. I know it's been a while, but we here. We here. We got Mook.
Hey y'all.
We got Trav, of course, the Master Trav.
Greetings.
And then D-Ray. D-Ray.
Peace, family.
Yes, we're about to get it in, family. Y'all come on in this thing so we can build some fire. We're about to make some fire for real. This is about to be a powerful share. Woo. The elements. The elements. The elements. Damn, how do I find the video? Oh, okay, here we go. Yeah, so how everybody been, man? Family in the building. Y'all in the chat room. Share what's going on. What's up? Nightcat. KG's View. Woke Media already here. What's up, Sci-Fi? Oshila. About to make some noise in 1 second. Let me share the video, family. Let me share the video. Peace, Nyla. Sound like the cat off of Lion King. Nyla. The Magician, chapter 5.
Nyla.
The Secret of the Four Elements. We are live. Now, again. All right. And got that going. Man, so let me tell y'all a little about, I'm on your thing, babe. See, that's what happens when you, I'm on your Facebook, babe.
Oh wow.
That's fine. We'll still share shit. Yeah, family, man. It's been a lot of energy this week. A lot of energy this past week. Chaotic energy. Been kind of crazy, kind of different, funny. Man, the other day, what's today? Sunday? Yeah, today's Sunday. Man, Friday night, we went out. And we went out for my homegirl's birthday party or whatever, right? And obviously, you know, me being the chaotic being I am, I'm going to get loaded. I'm going to just be fucked up, right? We had a good time, whatever. Boom, boom. Got home. Woo! Went to sleep, woke up, out of there. Headache, banging headache the whole Saturday. Man, I tried to go outside and sun gaze, not work. I tried to get some peppermint oil up my nose, nothing. Nigga, what else did I do? Man, I was out of there the whole day. I was just outside trying to get that energy back. Gone. So yeah, I'd say all that to say, man, some days you need them you know, them reboot days. Them days where you do absolutely nothing. I drank probably a gallon of water. Still couldn't get rid of that bitch. Finally, I took it to leave, and that shit just kind of started fading away. Shit. That shit was off the chain, my headache. And then after that, before that, my queen and I, we went to go pick up our kids. So, you know, we pick them up or whatever. And nigga, when I tell you my life, I almost died yesterday. We talked about death. Death. There was a big ass rat dead in front of our garage. Yeah. The rat was like, the body was tore up. right in front of our garage, man.
Damn.
Yeah, that shit fucked me up. So I'm sitting here like, wait a minute, what the hell is that? I just looked, the body was gone, the tail was still there, and the head was there. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh, I was just so shook up, man. It didn't even make no sense. Babe, you tell them. You tell them how. Ugh.
Nah, y'all, we both was having damn panic attacks. We did not know what to do.
It
Both
was
of
just the head of it.
girl, the head and the tail, that's it. The whole middle part of its body was
What?
gone.
It was
So
like the guts
basically,
were cut out too. The guts were out and stuff.
Oh no.
so it was like a bird must have got him and ate him and then just dropped him off. Just was like, oh, I'm done with you. You know
Oh
what I'm saying?
no.
Y'all, Dream got out the car. He said, babe, I don't know what's going on. He said, I don't know what's going on, but you about to have to deal with this. It's a dead rat in our driveway. I'm like, oh, hell no. And y'all, that's both of our fear. So you know that don't make no sense.
I'm telling you,
Both of
I
us
get it.
cannot do rodents.
Man,
So,
look, I'm telling you, one day I'm in the house and I'm going through I got a front and a back door. So the back door is connected to my driveway. So I went through the back door to get in the house one day and I got the baby on my back. He's like, I'm giving him a piggyback ride. So he's on my back and I go to open my back door. When I say I don't know if it was a possum, a rat, or what ran across the top of my door. Girl, I look, the baby almost had to fend for herself. I'm like, look, run.
exactly.
We
That's
gotta
how
get
it,
in here.
girl, that's how it was for us, honey. It was so bad, y'all. Listen. It was so bad. Like just seeing the head of a rat and the tail of a rat.
Ugh, I
That's
can't even
all
imagine.
you see.
That's so
We
gross.
were like, what in the hell? It was so bad, y'all. It was so bad. We couldn't even really talk about it after the fact. We were so uncomfortable. We were like, okay, look, we got to take a shower. Y'all, we couldn't even pick it
Look,
up
that
Oh man.
ourselves.
something
The-
happened. I see a roach or something. I kill a roach, and I always get that Men in Black feeling like I'm killing it, and something bigger is about to make an appearance in my life. So I just go and cleanse.
Hmm.
I'm telling you, look,
Every
we
time
couldn't deal with it.
every time I kill a roach or something. Texas got these big ass roaches. So every time I kill one, I literally go back to that Men in Black movie when it be like, that dude turned into, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about?
Right,
That scene.
right.
Yeah.
I always
Yeah.
look at that. Oh my God. I swear to God, every time I see anything, I be thinking like, no, there's something bigger where he came from. And this is just, I'm killing somebody's family. I can't deal with it.
Nah, shit was scary. It was, man, when I tell you we were both having anxiety, we were having anxiety. Like
You picked it up?
chaos. Girl, no. It was a teenage boy, a teenage black boy was riding on his bike, honey. You know my ass. I'm like, excuse me. I had to wave my hands and ask him to come here. I'm like, look, we scared. I'm sorry. We're scared. We cannot do this. I'm damn near about to cry. I'm like, look, we cannot pick this up. Okay, can you help us, please?
Oh, I was so dead. I was dead.
Man,
I was like, and then
Dream was out of
I had
there.
a headache. I was gone. My body was feeling fucked up. I'm like, I'm not about to deal with this shit. Hell no. Hell no.
So
I
we
can
got
deal with my
lucky,
fears today.
man.
I'm like, dog, why you gotta give me my fears today?
I'm telling you, you had to recruit. Look, the universe will do that to you. They're like, oh, okay, you not even on your guard. Cool. Here's something to deal with. You ready?
Man, I'm telling you, we got lucky. That teenage boy came and he did it easily. He just swept them on in. I was like,
Like it's
man,
nothing too.
man,
Like,
like it was nothing. Made us look like, damn, y'all crazy. Y'all some grown ass adults. I'm like, look, I'm sorry. This is both of our fear. Please help us. He helped us, man. I sent him off with some snacks, man. He was like, all right, bet. It's
look,
cool.
I'm
I
trying to
swept a
tell
little
you,
rat,
man.
but I got some snacks out of the deal. I'm like, thank you, bro, because mm-mm.
Look, I would have been looking like, nope. I'm telling you, I seen that possum run across the top of the door. I'm like, son, get in the house. Get in the house. You know, he moving all slow. He only two, so he like he don't understand the panic and the fear happening. Like, get in the house. You know?
I'm
Yeah,
telling you.
I tie spiritual concepts to it all, so I'm like, oh, okay, this must mean the rats in my life are dead to me. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh yeah, this is a symbol because there's no way this half body rat is just gonna be right in front of our garage like that. I'm dead. I'm like, nah, not today.
I'm
So
telling you,
yeah,
that's
and
even and even thinking about it, because I always look at spiritual, like, from a spiritual standpoint. And a long time ago, I did a video about the significance of rats. And I'm like, why does so many places that we, patron use rat symbolism? Mickey Mouse and Chuck E. Cheese and all these different, these is rats, like actual
mhm,
rats that they use, and I remember some of the soul family kind of looking into it, and I remember them saying that like rats represent abundance, and like they represent some type of abundance or something, because when you go to Chuck E. Cheese like the casino for kids.
mm,
And so I was looking at that, and I was so I always try to take a look at like spiritually what it means. So I was like seeing the rat symbolism in so many different places. And then you have Disneyland, which is another one of those, type of like wonderland, fun land type of places and stuff like that. And why the rat is used in so many different places across the world for like, as a mascot for things, But
mm.
I mean, it could also be, you get that sneaky, part of it, and then also you have like an abundance part of it. So you got to look at it from every angle.
Yeah, definitely. Well, what came to me was something that I've been dealing with some of my friends and some of these quote unquote family members. So I just knew that's what the symbol was for me in that moment. You feel me?
Hmm.
Because man, it's been one of them months, man. But it's growth and it's learning how to move in a room full of snakes, basically. You know what I'm
Definitely.
saying? So yeah, it's all to the good. Peace to the family out there, man. Thank you, Sean, for that. Yeah, we about to get it in, man. This chapter 5, Magician, the secret of the 4 elements. Secret of the 4 elements. So yeah, what we're gonna do, man, we're gonna drive this thing home. Everybody give their little perspective on it. And we're gonna do just how our chaos being self does. We just gonna all dive in and try to make magic out of this thing. Or not make magic. We are magic. So it's coming. It's here. Elements. All right. So with Phil Cooper, he's European, the European and everything. So he has a whole different outlook to it. Um, he wants you to do his ritual work and he wants you to, basically use his imagination symbol, right? So we can stay clear of that, okay? Because that's something that can be up for debate. What we're going to concentrate on is these elements, these 4 elements. So the 4 elements are earth, air, water, and fire, right? And the whole idea, the whole concept of these 4 elements is basically the essence in these elements, the kind of personality trait they bring, okay? The kind of energy that it brings in the different situations you use these elements with, or in the different time and space that happens. Um, yeah, so we're gonna go in, man. Anybody got some thoughts on that, or on the elements, or who wants to start this party off?
Don't everybody raise their hand at once.
I know, no, it's kind of funny because it's like you want to go in, but then you just want to kind of ease your way into it.
Well, I think just to start off, I mean, and this is kind of like further into the fifth chapter, but um, I like the breakdown of how he separated because even me and D-Ray, for a lot of people who watch our channels and everything, know that we always tap into the tarot when we can, so even how he broke down into the four elements, that everything corresponds by elements as well. So you have swords, you have cups, you have
Mm.
wands and things like that, and how he broke those into the elements that they correspond with. And I thought that that was probably my favorite part of the chapter, because now when I look at mine, and I already see it this way, like air being communication, the wands being fire, things like that. So when you have a visual of it, because he did the encircled cross, to show the diagram of it, and then relating it to the directions, northeast, southwest. So me just writing that out and then looking at the tarot, it definitely puts things into perspective, and it gives you like a reference point to, like, okay, that added another element. Like, we're talking about the elements, it added another element to what I was already doing or what I was already tapping into, but it gave me a different way to look at it. Like, okay, now I can put direction to it, northeast, southwest. I had never thought about putting those into elements. So seeing that and then tapping into tarot, that's even more powerful. Now I can say, okay, this is, a possibility for what I'm picking up on.
Mm.
You could be in this area, you could be in that area, you could be dealing with this, you could be dealing with that, like, and just kind of seeing that, you
Mm.
know, um, it just put a lot of perspective on the tarot too. So I like that part of the chapter, especially breaking down how everything astrologically, um, and in our environments is based off of elements,
Mhm.
um, even in feng shui. And I talked about feng shui before on the channel too. But even in feng shui breaks down everything into elements too. So like if you're in your living room and your living room has a lot of, like, I have hardwood floors, and they talk about, if you have a lot of hardwood, okay, put more metal things into the house. Put, something that represents water into the house. Bring those different elements into your home. So we see so many ancient practices that base everything around,
Mm.
the elements. So I thought that was pretty powerful too.
Oh yeah, definitely. And what Mook is talking about, family, is these elements are basically the natural representation of our planet, or where we're this plane of existence, wherever we're at, right? So everything is comprised of one of these four elements on Earth, if you will. Earth, Earth. We all know what Earth is: a physical representation. Air, basically, the air that we breathe and all of that. Water, the fluid thing that you love to drink, and fire, right? All these four elements have different energy frequencies, if you will, from what he was saying in the book. And all of them have a different personality trait or characteristics that you can influence with direction, with the seasons, with with what else? With your chakras. Okay, so all of this stuff is in alignment if you're able to correspond the different elements with the different avenues that we're about to go into. Babe, you want to tap into these different avenues real quick?
You're gonna have to
No,
come back to me. I'm dealing with these little ones real quick.
the chaos.
Hmm.
Okay, all
Okay,
right.
I can go in on it.
Okay, go ahead, Trav.
So I really enjoy this book because it takes a lot of the complex definitions in magic and makes it real simple. So the four elements are one of those really simple things that are really important because working with the four elements are working with the ingredients of creation. Um, the best way that I like to think of it is like say you're playing like one of those cooking apps, cooking games, right? Where you have to make a certain little dish in a certain time and then serve it up, right? But they
Mhm.
only give four different ingredients to work with. So that's like what the four elements is. Say you got like eggs, flour, sugar, and you know, butter. You
Mhm.
can make a bunch of different things out of those four different ingredients, but the difference is how much of which one of those you use. So when the book talks about the four elements, it's not talking about just literally fire, air, earth, and water. It's also talking about the properties of these things.
Mhm.
Like something that has a lot of earth property is something that's very heavy, very dense. Earth also represents and symbolizes prosperity and abundance, like the rat that you saw. Fire represents spirit and energy. Water usually represents emotions or the subconscious mind. Air typically represents thought and things that have to do with planning and calculation. Even when you get to the tarot, it deals with like the sword, like Mook was talking about. Wands deal with fire, cups for the water, and then the pentacles for the earth. Um, but basically, what this is a categorization system for our mind to think about different things in. None of these things in magic have like a clear, concise definition that you can write down. These are symbols, and the symbols represent energy, and it's all about how you interpret and categorize the energy. So that's why you'll see a bunch of different categorizations for one element per se. That's why a lot of things fall under water, a lot of things fall under fire, earth, air, because it's a symbol.
Mhm.
And you're training your mind with magic, you're training your mind to be more right brained, more concept, more conceptual, not literal, not logical. You don't need an actual definition or a magical formula or a process. You need to know how to interpret the symbols. And I think that's what this chapter is really trying to convey. Yes, we it's easy for us to understand that there's four elements, but it's more than just the physical presentation of these four elements and
Mhm.
how we mix them up to make different things, right? And it also says that certain things have more of one thing than the other, right? Every person has every element,
Mhm.
but see, some people are water signs, some people are fire signs, some people are air signs. It's because in their psyche and in their energetic makeup, they've got more, you know what I'm saying? I've got more air in me. So I'm more intellectual. I think more. I spend most of my time in my head. Water, people that have more water, they spend more time in their feelings and their emotions. That's how they process the world. That's their strength. Earth people, they need tangible things, right? They need to have physical beauty around them or physical something to look at, right? Fire people, they need to be moving, they need to be going, right? But they also have a water side to them. They also have an intellectual side to them. So it's all about the mix of the energy.
Yes, yes, that's deep. That's what it is, man. Corresponding with. Go ahead, babe.
Yeah.
Well, you took the word clean out of my mouth. What I was just about to come on here and say is we're talking in reference of correspondence, how these things relate to each other and how these things, relate to us. And so, um, what I do want to add in there for the people who have not read the book or do not have the book, I kind of want to let you guys know about the different correspondences for each of the elements. So if you want to get like a pen and paper, just in case you don't have this stuff, so that you're able to use it. Because at the end of the day, what we're talking about is magic. And magic is creating, it's manifesting, it's doing alchemy, it's taking things from one state of being to another. And so when we're doing this work, whenever you're doing your rituals, you want to be incorporating these elements. Okay. So, just to run down some of the stuff that we kind of talked about last night, Dream and I, and that you'll find in the book if you don't have it, is that the air sign faces is represented by east as far as direction goes. The south is fire, west is water, north is earth. And I want to also go and make the point that a lot of the correspondences that we end up reading about, sometimes they contradict themselves. or not even contradiction, I should say, but a lot of things cross paths. Like we were just talking about Mook, Travis, and Dream and I before we got on here. There's this web thing that happens. Like we're all a part of this web. We're all a part of this connective tissue, like Mook said, or the electromagnetic field, whatever you want to call it. But things weave in and out of each other. All right. So whenever we're talking about, these elements, know that whenever we're talking about manifesting, a lot of times you're gonna, you know it may be lavender is of the air element, but it can also be of the fire element too. So a lot of these things kind of go in and out. Just
Mm.
wanted to make that point, just wanted to let people know about that. And then the last thing, if you got a pen and paper, it says, well, one thing that we should know when it comes to the elements is that, of course, air is about, I think. That's your thought process. Earth is also about possessions. What do you have physically? And then fire is your desires. Okay, what do you want? What do you want to manifest? And then, of course, water is feelings. It's emotions. What you feel. So I just want to put those like a general basis out there for the people who may or may not have this book. Just wanted to put that out there.
Yes, yes, yes. And there was a book. Well, everybody should have this book also, the Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs, where you can actually practice using these different type of herbs that have different energy signatures. So you can, in your ritual, you can actually throw a certain herb in the air for air, or throw a certain herb in the water for, if you're dealing with some kind of emotional thing, or if you want to dig up the earth and put certain herbs in the earth. I know in a lot of our rituals, we use herbs, and there's a great website. I can't think of the lady's name right now, but where you can get a whole bunch of sampled herbs. And then if you correlate the book, Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs, with the herbs that you get, then you can start aligning things up in your ritual. That way you can have the conscious mind ready for that, and then your subconscious will be able to accept it more. So, burn these herbs with fire, and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's a really practical, easy, easy way for you to manipulate these elements using magical herbs. Using magical herbs.
I have
All right.
a excuse me, similar to what you said, Dream. I have a book also. It's like magical aromatherapy, and it breaks things down into that same type of way where it tells you the planet correspondence to the herb, tells you the element related to the herb as well. And so when I look at that too, I make sure that in my, like you said, in the rituals, we're using every element. Even for myself, when I'm trying to incorporate a certain type of energy, if I'm too grounded, you know what I'm saying, I'm not being very action oriented, I'm going to bring in more of those fire elements so I can get that action oriented energy, pushed out.
Mhm.
So, even, with your personal self, balancing out all of your elements and making sure that you are, internally, externally, balancing out the fire. Like Trav was saying, how some people, like me, I'm earthy and very watery in my chart, very earthy, very watery. And so for me, I have to constantly incorporate those fire elements in order to counter, to kind of balance that.
Mhm.
Even in the ritual work, because we are dealing with the mind and things like that. In my altar work, if I am dealing with my altar, if I'm doing rituals, I make sure, okay, I have this element here, and no, no metal or something like that. So I would put the hematite up there. I got some hematite magnets. Maybe I'll put that up there. Maybe I'll put like if it's too earthy, then I'll put like a cup of water. I'll just sit a cup of water there to kind of catch the vibrations.
Mhm.
Um, but making sure that we incorporate it into our spiritual work as well, like you said, because for me, that's one thing that I always make sure of when I do my ritual work or any like altar work or something, that I have every element present.
Mhm. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, and with the elements, um, and the number four, Philip Cooper jumped into this whole numerology thing in the chapter, which I
Mm-hmm.
thought was very interesting, and him seeing the number four in the perspective that he sees is in. Um, I thought it was kind of interesting, and something that we can debate with it. Now we understand that the four is still the boxed in, like the square, right, where you're boxed in this earth, giving you the understanding that you're trapped in this realm, basically, in my perspective. But I guess in his perspective, he's just seeing it as earth itself and blah blah blah. Um, One thing I know about that encircled cross is that you can do that and see how it makes you feel. In the experiences I had with it, it's a good tool for you to use that if you're starting off and you're trying to develop your imagination process and everything like that. But you definitely don't want to close yourself in. Okay, you definitely don't ever want to box yourself in. Okay, so we can look at the four, using the four, right? If we can look at it like a square trapped in a circle, right? And you're in that circle, that means you don't have no movement to grow. Okay, so with these elements, it's a part of this earth, and it's a part of this reality. But in order for us to step outside and get outside of this reality and tap into higher uh, levels of thought, um, we want to get out of this circle of time, or this quote unquote thought process of we're boxed in. We need to be in this box to create our magic. So I thought that was interesting. Anybody
I
got perspective?
I,
Go ahead.
I think that because see, I've been using the techniques from that book for a few years, and it's mainly, I think mainly he puts those techniques there not because they're the only way to access power. I think it's a way to subconsciously train your mind.
Mhm.
You read this man's books, you realize that he's somebody that really understands the power of conditioning your subconscious mind to make things automatic for you.
Mhm.
So I don't believe that he put those rituals there as something that you need to be locked into. The way that I took it was more of a framework to help develop conscious mind.
Training
More,
wheels.
yeah, training wheels. More of a way to kind of help you organize the energy. Because when you think about the subconscious mind, it is a vast monster of energy. Like literally, when I say the subconscious mind generates your reality, I really mean that. On the mundane level and in the hyper spiritual level. On the mundane level, the subconscious mind database for every definition of everything that you experience. The subconscious mind tells you what this means. Now, on the spiritual level, the subconscious mind, whatever you put in it, if you work it, that seed grows into whatever you planted. So
Mhm.
when he makes this statement about the four elements, and then he gives you the encircled cross ritual, what he's doing is he's helping you map out your subconscious mind. Because when you look at the tree of life and how energy flows down from the pure unknown into the reality that we can perceive, the first step is Kether, right? And that is the I am, I'm here. The
Mhm.
very sphere on the tree of life is creating a space. All right. So it's as if the I am has arrived, and the next thing it does is it parts space. It makes space out of nothing. And then from there, it begins to put in
Mhm.
energy. Put in what type of energy, right? And as the light comes down the tree of life, it becomes more and more specific. But the first step is the statement of I am. The second step is creating that space. So with the encircle cross ritual, you're actually creating that space in your head. Now take it from somebody who's been doing these rituals for a few years. Eventually you don't have to do the rituals anymore because you intuitively know what comes next.
All right.
So yeah, in the major society, there are a lot of people, right? Well, not a lot, but there's some people who are coming in, putting pictures about their ritual space and the new candles they bought and new altar cloth and all this stuff, and that's great. I congratulate them. And then there's people who come in and they're like, "Oh, you don't need that shit. You don't need physical stuff." Da 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 da. But you got to understand, everybody works at their own pace. This
Mhm.
is about conditioning your subconscious mind to produce results. So if you see somebody doing something that you don't do, that doesn't mean bash them for it. Don't attack them for it, because we're all here for the same purpose, right? But concerning this book and what he presents with those within circle cross rituals, what it's doing is it's making a space in your subconscious mind to use the four elements that he just talked about. That's my
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
definitely, Trav. Yeah, and that's an excellent point because at the end of the day, when you are starting out, you do have to kind of put this into context that it all comes down and boils down to the imagination. So if you're able to use that, you know what I mean, and tap into your power that way, where you're putting these four elements in the different sections of the encircled cross, then go ahead and do as thou wilt. Um, and make that make let that help you and guide you to your knowing. So until you understand and grow into the level of where you can
proficient.
use this, yeah, where you can use this your magical rights outright. Yeah, so that's powerful, powerful, and good share, Trav, because yeah, people do have to see it that way too.
And I,
Yeah,
excuse
and then
me,
you get.
I go ahead, Travis.
Oh, I was just gonna say, then you got other people who just kind of naturally get it. You know what I'm saying? There's some people who naturally can communicate with spirits, can naturally, you know what I'm saying, pull out them cards and just like make the connection and speak with entities and see, you know what I'm saying, what's going on with you and with your energy and can heal you. There's people who can do all that without training. But
Hmm.
you know, it's like sports. Some people are better at basketball. Some people got to practice and train. But everybody gets better when you practice and train.
Yes, 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 definitely, definitely, definitely.
And see, that's the thing about a lot of it too, is people have to understand that anything that you do repetitively, you become better at. So, like you said, you've been doing it for, like Trev said, he's been doing it for years, and there's a lot of concepts even in the book that we probably have done naturally, not even noticed. And the thing is, I've come to a place like you were saying, some people need it physically, and I tell people that too. Like, all of it is about training your subconscious mind. So if I have to light an incense to get the production of these energies going within myself, then that's what I'm gonna do. But the
Mm-hmm.
thing is, with it, as you train and as you practice, you need less and less. So when versus drawing the encircled cross out, like a lot of the concepts in the book, they'll have you draw things out, like the pentagram, and then the encircled cross, they have you draw these things out. And what I've been doing, just in order to help train my subconscious mind, is drawing it within my mind's eye. So using my third eye to draw these things out. So I'm envisioning it a lot more. That
Yeah.
way I'm not having to actually put it into the physical, and I'm taking it straight to the ether, you know what I'm saying? To be able to put this energy out. So that's something I've been training myself to do over the last few weeks, even more and more, of like drawing things within my mind's eye and putting those energies out within my mind's eye versus in the physical. But that's just to train me to use spirit in another way and to use my subconscious mind in another way. Because, like I said, I'm a very earthy person. So if it comes to writing things down, writing things out, that's easy for me. Like, that's the easier way for me to do it. But in order for me to be better at something, I feel like me taking away from making things so physical and putting them into my mind's eye is
Hmm.
helping me to become more adept at it. But that doesn't take away from the fact that I'm still going to light my candles. I'm still going to light my incense, when it's necessary to produce certain energy. So I feel like knowing when to use certain elements, kind of like what Trav was saying, If you don't need it, that's cool. But for the people who do need it, it's just about training yourself and kind of knowing when to pull out what, and when to use what elements for what.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely, definitely. We're all physical in nature, so I don't know who doesn't use the physical symbolism of these items to to tap into that subconscious mind. So yeah, you
Yeah.
you have to use the fit. Who said that, Trav? I mean,
I
somebody,
think that's the whole point of the
somebody,
conversation that we're having right now, though.
right?
You know,
Exactly.
I feel like the whole point of the conversation that we're having is discussing how to use the elements in doing your rituals and in doing your spiritual work. Like that's the whole point of the conversation within itself. And so we're just here giving a point of reference or an understanding to what the elements are.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So every single time I do a ritual, well, probably not every single time, but most of the time when I do a really focused ritual, I'm going to have a candle to represent that fire, and it will be within the color based off like the chakras of whatever I'm trying to manifest. Almost
Mm-hmm.
every single time I'm going into some type of spiritual work or even meditation, I'm going to light an incense because it just helps me to um, one, you get that air element in there with the smoke, but then next, it automatically kind of puts me into that space. If I'm doing something with my emotional state of being, almost always, if I'm trying to purge and cleanse my emotions, I'm going to do that by taking a spiritual bath and being in that water.
Yeah.
So I
Hmm.
think us building on this conversation right now is just simply even talking about using the elements, understanding the elements, and understanding how to optimize the elements whenever we're doing our magic. For example, he put in the book
Yeah, and
that
whoever.
huh?
Oh, go ahead, babe.
No, I was saying, for example, he put in the book the different times of day and what elements those correlate to, or the
Hmm.
different times of the year and what those things correlate to. So just to kind of let people know. And this is what he says. So again, I'm telling you, do your research. Like summer may correspond to a different element in your mind than it does for him. So that's totally fine. But in the magician, he says spring represents air, winter represents earth, summer represents fire, which summer and fire, that's just done deal. That's where we are right now. And then fall represents the winter. Okay. So if you're trying to manifest a certain desire or something like that, then an optimum time for you to do that ritual using fire would be right now within the summer.
Mhm.
Okay, so we're talking about understanding the elements and how they would correspond to everything in our lives, and then pulling all of those correspondences together whenever we do rituals or whenever we are doing this work, so that the work that we do can go out and be made manifest on a quicker level.
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely. And whoever says they don't use physical tools or you know um, or the season or the feeling of the season, they're lying to you. So you have to. There's no way you can do rituals without anything. Like what they doing? Just I mean, I get it. You meditate and go in, but at the end of the day, we're so physical in nature that we need these tools. We need these items. We need this energy of the season to even bring us out the feeling to invoke the intention that we're trying to manifest.
And something else I want to add in there real quick though, y'all. Something to take in consideration. So we know like every time the seasons change, there's a different energy imprint with that season. There's a different energy pattern that we all can see that is external, right? That we can see it. But again, we talk about correspondence. And so a lot of times, for example, in the winter, it seems like that's when people are the most depressed, right? That's when they're the saddest. That's when it seems like times are the hardest, when it's the winter time. All right. And based off of what he
Mhm.
said in the book, as far as like the elements, the winter time is the earth. And so what that makes me think about, and I'm just trying to give y'all a point of reference to understand how you're supposed to be thinking about these elements and using them and corresponding them. So if winter is earth and people are, and that's talking about possessions, that's the density, that's what you have, that's what you're holding on to, then maybe people are so depressed in the winter time because they are understanding that they're seeing that they're supposed to be releasing at that time. They're still holding
Mm.
on to things. They're still holding on to things that in that state of being in that winter time, these things are actually supposed to be released so that you can be in correspondence with the elements and with the energy of that space and time.
Hmm.
So this is so important to really understand what the energy imprint is of these elements, of the seasons, because they all, correspond, so that you can be optimizing the energy, so that you be optimizing the elements.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we all say it all the time, or we have a grandma that say it all the time. Oh, it's about to get cold. My knees are hurting. So,
Mhm.
we feel it. It's in our being. It's in our essence. Like these seasons are telling us things that actually correlate to our body, our physical feeling, or and even just our astral feeling, just the energy, the mindset we have in these certain times. You know what I mean? Like you start feeling depressed in the winter, so you gotta figure something out to get your mood back right, or you know what I'm saying? So powerful,
Yeah.
powerful.
That reminds me of Game of Thrones. They say, winter is coming. Look,
Mm.
y'all got to watch Game of Thrones. But anyway, there's so much stuff in that show. But okay,
It's so
one
long though. It's so long.
it is. But look, it was good. It had some look. It just had so many different concepts going on. But it was pretty decent. But one of the things that I wanted to mention too was how he talks about the moon phases. Now, I'm a moon child. I'm a Cancer moon, so I'm a moon child. And I love working with the moon energy and full moons, new moons, things like that. And in the book, he breaks it down into four elements. So the new moon belonging to air, the first quarter moon to fire, the full moon to water.
Mhm.
So that reminded me of the new moon when we're trying to bring new things in, and air being communication. That is a way for us to bring things in, communicate with the elements in that way to bring something to us. That's when the new moon is when we're communicating with spirit to let be known what we want to incorporate, right? And then you have the full moon, which he says belongs
Mhm.
to water,
Yeah, yeah,
which
definitely. And it's actually coming up. Mm.
belongs to the full moon belongs to water. So water being our subconscious mind, and I talked about this before about how when the moon is full, how they say people get to acting crazy under the moon and things like this, and you have to understand lunar, and the word actually lunacy comes from the moon, lunar. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? People don't understand that. So when
Yeah.
we see the full moon and things like that, that corresponds to our physical nature as well, like you were saying.
Mhm.
So the full moon being one of those things where we see things come full circle, but that's when we're able to work with the subconscious the most. Subconscious being, dealing with water. So that's why when we're trying to incorporate, or build more dreams and things like that, we deal with water. I tell people, if you want better dreams, drink water. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? So it's interesting that the full moon relates to that in the same way. So us seeing the elements in literally every part of our nature, and every part of our being, and actually, the things we don't think about. So I had never thought about breaking down the moon into the different cycles, but when he broke it down, that makes the most sense. Full moon being water, new moon air, first quarter fire, and things like that,
Mhm.
because during these times, if the new moon belongs to air, where we're trying to push something out, we're trying to communicate with spirit about something new that we want, or bringing in new energy, and then the first quarter being fire, that's when we're seeing these ideas be pushed out. Fire is that spirit communicating. Fire is that animation. Fire is what um spirit I think spirit correlates a lot to fire because I feel like that's what animates everything in our environment. So
Mm,
we're seeing that happen, the whole animation until we get to the full moon, which brings things full circle. You know what I'm saying? So
mhm.
uh, it's just very interesting. I actually, like B Ray was saying, this is someone else's idea of how these things work. So that is something that I can like align with. A lot of that is aligns exactly with the work that I do. So I think that that was a pretty interesting concept to even break that down like that.
Yes, yes.
And let me
Yeah.
add to what you just said, Moot, because I love that. And I want people in the chat and all of us to understand that, because even you bringing up the new moon being in the air sign, and then again you're saying air is communication, and air is also thought. You're thinking. Air is the mind, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so that's when you set your intentions. That's when you're setting your intentions. You're putting those intentions into the subconscious mind, like you said, communicating with spirit. And then if the full moon is water and the water is the subconscious mind, then at that full moon, that's when we're seeing the manifestation of the intentions that we put in at the new moon. So
Mm-hmm.
so that's powerful and very important. And then something that it made me think about when you brought up fire was, do y'all remember when that volcano happened in Hawaii or whatever? And Tiffany Messenger had made a video and she had posted pictures of the lava that was coming from the volcano, and you could obviously see that that fire had this feminine, ferocious energy to it, right? So that was a great example of understanding that these elements have energy and energetic patterns that we have to tap into in order for us to manifest whatever desires that we have. If
Mhm.
y'all have not seen that, go on Google and look up that volcano that happened. It happened, I guess that was last year, 2018. But there were so many pictures to where you can see the feminine energy. You can see what looked like a woman in the fire of that volcano.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
I remember
if
that.
y'all haven't seen that, y'all got to check that out because it was very supernatural, and you could tell that it was either one of our female ancestors or something like that coming back and handling business. Hell, Bobby Hemmett talks about how in the oceans, um, our ancestors are in the oceans, and if some stuff is going on, we can command that water to make those hurricanes happen like that and redo some things. So everything is energy, and it's so important to understand the correspondence of the energy in relation to what it is that you're trying to bring about and what your intentions are within your magic.
Hmm. Yes.
That's
Yes.
definitely true.
Yep. That's it. That's it. All right. So yeah. The elements in a nutshell. Now let's see. Is there anything you think you cannot do with these elements, or how you say? Is there any contradicting things that, so like for instance, do we have to, use earth at the north, or what I'm saying, do certain rituals at certain times with certain items? That's a hold, or you feel like we can do how we do and just go for what we know in the time and feeling and place.
No, because see, my thing
For
is,
it.
I don't think that we have to use certain things at certain times. I just think it makes it more powerful when we're in correspondence with nature. So
Mm,
it's like you could use any ritual. Like you don't have to wait for a full moon or a new moon to do any type of ritual. But we know that these energies,
Nope.
when they're most potent, you know what I'm saying? So if I want to manifest something, I want it to be at its full potential instead of going against the grain. Okay, I know that the energy is open for this. I know that full moons create portal energy. So if I want to push anything through the atmosphere, through the universe, through the multiverse, whatever, I'm going to use the energy when it's most potent. We know that, you know, the days, quote unquote, that they're using these same type of, astrological events and planetary alignments in order to push out ideas and things like that. They're using numerology and things like this to be able to manifest certain things in their favor. And there's a reason for this. It's because they're taking a look at when energy is at a rise, and when it's most potent to be able to manifest something. So the thing for us to do, I think, in order to be in alignment with that and to make sure that we're manifesting out of our own creation and not out of what's being pushed out on us, is to be in correspondence with nature, because nature was here before all of us, and
Mhm.
so I think that's something to take note of, that okay, I don't have to wait until this time to do this, but taking note of when the energy is most powerful. So like D-Ray was saying, we're in summer right now, so the fire element is going to be very powerful. So your creativity, it would be a great time, you know what I'm saying? We look at the tarot and it corresponds with wands, so using that creative energy right now is going to be at an all-time high. People are feeling good, they're looking good, we're outward, you know what I'm saying? So using
Mhm.
that creative energy right now is going to be to your advantage. You know what I'm saying? Because in the winter, what do we do in the winter? If you look at animals in nature, in winter, they're hibernating. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? So everything that they're hibernating with and taking inside is going to be whatever they have built up, whatever the harvest has been up until that point. So
Mhm.
right now, I'm going to push out as many creative ideas, as much, manifestations as I can, because in the winter, that's the rest.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And so then we'll look at the spring and we'll see what blooms then, because
Mhm.
we're going to see things come full circle by that time. But now, it's just one of those things, you have to know how to go with the flow of what's happening in nature.
Mhm. Yeah, that's powerful, Mook. That's great. Yep. The Travant, you got any insight on that, or D Ray?
Yeah, I,
Okay.
yeah. Mook just said a really good presentation. Is if you're in line with nature, then you ain't got nothing to worry about. If you're in
Mm.
tune with the natural flow of how this thing is going, you're not you get to the point where you don't even have to try to do magic because stuff's just falling into place for you if you're really in tune.
Mhm.
But as far as like the seasons are concerned and like doing these things in a specific certain way, um the way I like to think of it is we're all a part of this big cosmic slop, this big cosmic soup, right? And it's differentiated by different layers. Like when you look at a brick of granite or whatever, or limestone, that's what it is, you'll see those different layers. Well, like on the bottom is like the more dense and the more thick, more earth elements, and at the top, as it gets finer, it goes to the water, then the fire, then the air, right? So I think that it's all part of one thing. It's just understanding how these elements work. It's how we channel those different energies to get them to go where we want them to go on purpose. So like with my full moon ritual that I have on my YouTube, people are still constantly telling me that they're having results with it. At the same time, people are asking me, do I have to do it on a full moon? And I always tell them no, because the main differentiating factor is the will. If you really want to
Mm.
do this, it doesn't matter what time, you're gonna go do it. It's just like, asking a girl out or going for a job application, starting a business, whatever. The time is now. Now you can wait. There are different benefits to, doing things at a certain time, but you don't have to be limited. Like what you said earlier, don't put yourself in a box. The mind is all that stuff is up under the influence of your mind,
Mhm.
right? We think we're under the influence of the stars. The stars are actually under the influence of the mind. It's just right now in our little physical limited perspective,
Mm.
we're under the influence. But when you reach your God level and you see that you are at the center of all this, you don't have to wait on anything else. You don't need approval from anything else. You made these rules. These rules are just
Right.
for us to understand how to work our own natural power. They're not to govern us. Like what Bobby Hemmett said about the four elements, what he said about the four angels. When you're a child, they're watching over you. But when you reach a certain age, if you didn't get control of these things, they're your abusers. Now they're the archons. Now it's the demiurge, right? If you didn't get up to your throne.
Yes.
So, in other words, if you're not mastering this power, if you're not using magical awakening, your spiritual awakening to learn how to master your power, if you're not doing that, then your power is going to master you, and it's not going to be nice.
Yes, yes, yes. Powerful, Trav. Powerful, powerful. D-Ray, you got any light on that? Or I think we done lost Moot.
Uh-oh.
Get her back.
I mean, everybody said everything. I mean, there's really nothing more to that. That is what it is. It's all about your belief and your knowing what you feel like is going to, what you know you are going to manifest. That's all it really is. You know what I'm saying? Like Trav, like Mook just said, if you think that you're going to get better results by waiting for the full moon or waiting for the new moon, then that's what's going to happen. But if you believe and you know that whenever you do your ritual, it's going to manifest, then that's what's going to happen as well. So it's really about understanding yourself and understanding how you work and how you operate.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I always know for me if I'm ever feeling overwhelmed and I'm just needing to come back into my center, I know undoubtedly that taking a spiritual bath is going to get me there because I understand that the water correlates with my emotions. And when I decide to sit in this water for an extended amount of time, my emotions are purged and they're cleansed because that's what water does. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? So for me, I just feel like it's about having that understanding of self. Everything goes back to self. You. What do you think? What do you believe? What has been proven to actually work for you? I feel like that's another thing. Like you have to do enough work for you have to put in enough scientific work for that you can get results, right? And then once you get those results, now you have a scientific theory,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Now you have a theory. When I do work at this time, when I use this element along with this element along with this element, this is how I manifest. So I think the issue, if anybody is having issues with manifesting and even doing magic, is because, like we said in the past, you haven't practiced enough, you haven't put in enough energy, effort, and thought into the work that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you see how something works,
Mm-hmm.
you got it. And then you can
Mm-hmm.
start adding in different, elements to whatever you have working on. You know what I'm saying? So it's really about being your own mad scientist and figuring out what things work best for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's really what it is. Like we on here just, talking about our experiences and what we've come to know and what we've come to realize. But at the end of the day, the one fact that is unchanging is that your subconscious mind creates your reality. So if you can believe it, you can achieve it. That's simple.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
And in the book, I just found a page. Let me see where I can find it. And well, he basically talking about correspondence and aligning these, let's say, energy signatures or symbols with the right timing. And he says you'll find tables of correspondence printed in various magical books, but be warned, most of these are contradictory. The reason for this is simple. In most cases, these are personal lists adopted by individuals. Sometimes they have been carefully thought out. More often than not, they probably haven't. The best list of correspondence available is the one you make yourself. So this is not difficult, as you'll discover, and at least you'll know that it is accurate and that it works. All right. So yeah, at the end of the day, yeah, it all comes down to your mind. But definitely you want to, especially for beginners and even intermediate occultists, you want to try to use these elements so you can have a certain map, so your conscious mind won't be going everywhere, your ego won't be thinking too much, and you won't, am I doing it right, is this right, did I actually use that right? No, if you get that ego, that player hater out the way and align with these elements in the structure that's been governed in the natural structure that that's kind of laid out in in a vacuum for everybody. The majority rules, I guess you'll say. Um, your conscious mind won't go nowhere. You know what I mean? Your conscious mind will agree with it, and then you'll be able to implant that in your subconscious mind and power it up. Like I said, when we was doing our rituals with the magical herbs, it's powerful because we actually lined up these herbs, right? And then we would actually use the air in certain times a day, right, to do our rituals. And we felt confident that it worked. You know what I'm saying? Now, as we grown in our magical works and our rituals, we come to understand that we're able to manipulate these energies uh, whenever we see fit. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Um,
I
and
think it's a double-edged sword. You can, as you grow, you'll learn, and just like Trav was saying, you're growing. You start somewhere, have a basis of understanding, and then as you graduate, per se, not to say that, but as you get a little bit higher in learning, then you'll be able to do as thou wilt, as they say.
it's definitely
Yeah.
a graduation. It's definitely a graduation because there's been levels to my magic. In there's some things, and some people do like I think you and Trav both said dream. Like some people naturally have the ability to manifest, and one of the things that I see, even with myself over time, is that I rarely have to actually say, okay, I need this and this and that. Sometimes I'm thinking something. I'm like, okay, I need, for instance, it was something simple. Like I was like, I need an extra break at work, and it was something so that I could get like a massage for myself or something like that. It was just something very, very simple. And I didn't even put much thought or energy to it. I just said, this is what I need. And I remember as soon as I came out from my session with my client, my manager goes, "Oh, your last client just canceled." And I'm like, "Damn, that manifested quick." I was, what I'm saying? Like I needed that so I could, get me a massage. So I was like, "That's wonderful." And I see a lot of things happen that way. I'm like, "Man, I need this or that." And someone will be like, "Hey, did you want to go get this, or you need this, or I have an extra that." And I'm like, "Damn, how?" You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I'm even shocked. I'm like, the thought hasn't even, to me, it ain't even hit the atmosphere yet in this manifesting, and that's becoming more powerful within the subconscious mind.
Hmm.
And so a lot of what he says in here is, you know, dealing with the subconscious mind. And one of the points that he makes is a lot of things that we tell people too, that this becomes all these things that we do physically are secondary to the inner work. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? He said it's not the words and actions that matter, but always the inner work which produces power. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? And
Yes.
such inner work is done simply in the imagination.
Yes.
So, we talk about, you know, magi's and things like that. And it's like, to be a true magician, you got to have a hell of an imagination. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? You have to be able to see it to produce it. You
Yep.
have to do the inner work and able to be able to bring things into the physical. And I tell people that, I say it starts up there, and he talks about how we say, up there, down here, things like that. Um, as a point of reference. And I always say, like, when we get downloads, because it all starts within this subconscious and thought realm first in order for it to be made manifest in the physical. So I think putting your subconscious mind to know that, okay, this is my intention.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? My intention is to make manifest that which I desire. That's, what I need, require, or desire to make manifest. And so, like he said in the book, and like we say multiple times, is you have to do the inner work, because that's where your true power comes from. And then you start to use these other physical elements to, bring things full circle.
Hmm. Yeah, that's good. That's good. And it reminds me, well, me and D Ray, and I'm gonna try to find it for the family. We had we had the whole thing broken down. We had a paper or whatever back in the day where we had the elements and what element corresponded with what time and what season or what direction to throw certain things in. And man, I'm gonna try to find it. I swear I'm gonna try to find it. And that's a good thing to have if you're just starting out, so you can appease your ego, so you can get that player hater out the way, and you have kind of a template to go by. So yeah, but at the end of the day, just like Mook said, man, after a while, when you've been doing it so long, just the thought and the imagination process, ooh wee, ooh wee, just come, and then you be like, damn, I was just thinking that, and now I got this. So it's powerful, man. It's kind of scary too at the same time, because
Hmm.
it's like wow, I just was visualizing that, and now it's here, man.
Hmm.
Countless, I can't countless and countless of times, me and my queen just did it, and it's crazy. So
And
yeah.
I think that's another thing was the preparing for the magical word. So that's in the chapter too. And so I think a lot of people have to realize that a lot of us are natural magicians, and we come from families of people who have been natural healers and
Mm,
magicians without even knowing or putting thought to it, right? One of the practices that they put in here, in order to prepare for your magical work, is to um he says, put on some nice music,
mm,
know what it is that you're about to do, light you a candle, have some incense going, put on, a robe or whatever your magical attire is if you need that. And then, all important intention is the most important preparation, right?
mhm,
Which is especially for us black people. This is exactly what your grandma and your mama do every Sunday morning. Stop playing. They put on some music, they light them a candle or some incense. They start cleaning that house. You know what I'm saying? That's a part of a magical ritual, and we're not even paying attention to it. Everything that I do to prepare
Yep.
myself to clean my house is literally the same thing I've seen my grandmother do. She gets up, she puts on some music, she open them curtains, she let that light in, she
mhm,
light them,
Yep. Yep.
candles, get the house smelling good. That is all natural magic. You know what I'm saying? She's cleansing the energy of the house. She's literally cleansing the energy of the house as well as cleaning the home. That's all magical ritual. And we're, putting it into these terms, and you know what I'm saying? But understand that we do this so naturally,
mhm,
and we're not even paying attention to it. I'm telling you, every time I clean my house, I'm about to go put on, burn me some Palo Santo, put me on some
mhm,
good music. You know what I'm saying? Put
mhm.
on my uh what they call them, my them little old granny, shirt robe things, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it be, the moo-moos or whatever, and get the cleaning house.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's a ritual that we've seen done our whole life. And it's like, why is it so powerful? Because after, even if you think about afterwards, the energy that is in the house after that's done, it sets a new energy and a new tone for your home. And it was my grandmother setting up the energy for our week. She would do it on Sunday, and then Monday, we know, this was us getting our minds prepared for the week to come. As soon as she started cleaning, we know, okay, let's get ourselves grounded. Let's get back. We're closing out the weekend. We're
Mhm.
coming back into the week. We're getting ourselves grounded here in the physical. And it was all
Yeah,
a
yeah,
ritual that we weren't paying attention to. So know that a lot of you guys by default have this magic within you, and all you have to do is turn on your subconscious mind to say, okay, work for me, work with me. You know what I'm saying? This is
Mhm.
what we're about to do. So when I'm cleaning and
Yeah,
I
that's
get the cleaning house, I know that
powerful.
I'm putting.
Always been seeing it, man. These rituals always been with us, from my
Mm-hmm.
parents to shit, even influences on TV shows that we watched and all of that. So it's powerful. All right, man. Anybody got anything else on these elements? So we can keep. Anybody got anything else to say? Trav, babe, anything else that we missed? Did we miss anything with the elements? Hopefully everybody got the understanding. I'm gonna try to find that sheet so I can give to the family and share it, because it was a beautiful drawn out sheet that we made. I know it's in one of my Word documents, and everything just corresponding with the elements. Like I said, the elements are a plus. You know what I mean? You use them, but remember, it all starts with your imagination. But yeah, we're here, man. Any questions in the chat room? Any questions? Let me look through this chat real quick. Anything that anybody wasn't sure about? Yeah, brother OB, you stimulate subconscious mind through repetition. Yep. Trauma and symbols. Yep. And these elements are symbols for the subconscious mind. Now, remember, the subconscious mind speaks to you in symbols. So for you to get your answer back, you got to understand your dreams and the symbols that you see every day. Like, for instance, I just seen that rat in front of my garage, and I knew that it meant something else for me. But then, as y'all see, that Mook had explained it, and Mook and Trav explained that it's a prosperity symbol also. So you know what I mean. Each of us can have our own understanding in certain times and frameworks of the situation that's happening. But one thing I do want everybody to understand also is that we can't uh, be hard on ourselves with any symbols or any of this magic that we're doing. Make that bitch work. Say it worked. You know what I'm saying? And it worked because, cause and effect. For every cause, there's an effect. So something has to come out of that bitch because you put it in the air, you put it in the ethers. Okay, you put it in the astral. You might not understand it at the time when the intention does come, but something happened and you did make an effect on it. For real.
These four elements, it's not as if you're specifically learning how do I use fire energy, how do I use water energy. It's not that you're learning that. It's just simply being aware of these things puts them into the mix now as tools as opposed to boundaries.
Mhm.
So just be aware every time you encounter something or you're trying to work magic, you're trying to do this or that. If just in the back of your head you're thinking about the element associated with it, you're now making a connection in your subconscious mind. For example, if you're trying to do rituals for money, now you know that money corresponds with the earth element. So just in the back of your head, when you're doing your rituals, you're subconsciously, they call it RAS, reticular activation system, even though it's just in your mind. You're now seeking the connection between earth because now you know that money corresponds with earth. As you do that, it's like your brain is categorizing where things go, right? If you're trying to find inspiration, no, if you're trying to get success with studying for college, you now know that that deals with air. So when you go seek magic and things like that, your subconscious mind starts to associate it with air, and etc. Right? So it's not about seeking how am I going to use fire to get more spiritual power. You just know that when you're doing rituals for spiritual power, that goes into the fire bucket. So over time, as that accumulates and builds, your mind starts to know where to put all the pieces. Now you can effectively use the secret magical formula known as Jehovah, Yod-He Vav-He, I am that I am. because God knows all the formulas that use the four elements, which is why he's God, because he can create anything, because the four elements are basically his four hands. That's why in the Bible it talks about those four angels surround his throne. I know a lot of people, oh, I don't follow the Bible, I don't believe in that. That's fine. This isn't about belief, because the Bible is also an occult book. It's also telling you how God operates. Jehovah, Yahweh, that is not a name. That is a magical phrase. Those four letters, Yod-Heh, Vav-Heh, represent the four elements. And the magical formula, the secret unutterable name of God, is how you use these four elements. And how you use them is by having everything categorized in its proper bucket, right? Making those connections, that network.
Yeah. Yeah, that's dope. That's dope, Trav. I love that. That's perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. And perfectly explained, perfectly broke down, because at the end of the day, this stuff does start to come into alignment with who you are, and you just start knowing stuff, or you just start understanding uh for this just particular topic, elements or whatever. You know what I mean? The more you do it, the more it seeps into your subconscious. Man, there was an old NLP technique that used to break this shit down crazy. Um, damn, I can't. I'm not going to be able to explain it right now, but uh, basically, what I was thinking about this the other day, I was like, I put the tongue, my tongue to the roof of my mouth now, right?
Mm-hmm.
But back then, I used to have to actually think and actually do it. But now in my meditation, it just actually goes to the roof of my mouth, and um, I don't even think about it. And the other day in my meditation, I was like, damn, I still do that. I'm like, wow, okay. So it kind of internalized inside of me to where I actually just do and be. You know what I'm saying? Instead of consciously thinking, okay, I got to put my tongue to the roof of my mouth. Okay, am I holding it? Let me hold it. Okay, and then it's fucking up my meditation probably back in the day when I was doing that. But now it just naturally goes there, and it's crazy.
You're talking about anchoring, right?
Yeah, that's just a quick example I can use for what you was just saying, Trav, when how it's just kind of you start kind of doing things, and then it's just alignment with the elements and stuff like that. You just
Yeah.
you just kind of know how that understanding. You see what I'm saying?
Well, I think there's something
Yeah.
within you that just remembers. You know what I'm saying? Remembering is just putting back together. So
Hmm.
when we get into our practices, we start to remember, like Travis just did the video about the upgrades and things like that, and downloads and all this type of stuff. And I think that that's a part of the spiritual work too, is that when you do this, you just begin to remember things. So some things take no effort because you're naturally unlocking a piece of what you probably already knew. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? um
Yeah.
and always remembering that, yes, we're dealing with four elements, but we talked about this when we were building um prior about the fifth element. Dreamer brought up the fifth element, and knowing that you are that fifth element, you have to actually animate
Hmm.
what it is that you're doing. I talk about the spirit being the animator. You know what I'm saying? It's what animates things. So in order to bring any of this to life, you have to do something. You have to be the element, the missing piece to the whole, project here. And so people have to remember that the fifth element, that's talking about you. You're that extra magical piece that's gonna get everything in motion, because the elements are just, they stand on their own. So without the direction, they're doing nothing. They're not doing anything for you or anything else. They just are. So in order for things to come to life, you have to be that fifth element in your practice.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. And then woke media just said, um Trav, could you give us a way how you would use these elements for entity creation? So I guess he's talking about magical entities create or. Yeah, with the elements.
Are you
Yeah,
dancing?
I know. I love questions. I love answering questions. I love talking about this shit. Now I'm getting excited.
That video you did the other day, Chad, that was great, man. When you went live and you just got up and started running, I was like, yeah, because that's the kind of feeling and expression you have to have in this thing, because you know, it's energy inside of you that just makes you want to move when you just being who we are. Like, I seen, it was funny that you did that, because in the last live that Panic had, he just got up and started running around the whole thing.
What?
And then people started joining him, and he was just saying, like, yeah, this is how you got to be with this thing. You got to just kind of be free, expressing yourself and making sure. And I thought that was spiritual, that I seen you do it too. And I was like, yeah, see, that's where it is. We're all in alignment with this thing.
Damn.
Yeah, that was
See, yeah, I honestly, I get a real joy out of doing this. I love it because I guess because I spent so much time by myself studying this, nobody to talk to about it, and now there's like this whole world of people who know about it that I can talk with. There's a whole world of people who don't know about it that want to know, and like I can clearly communicate with them. It's great. Yeah, you should see me when before and after videos. Anyways, to answer your question, what media? I believe the Magickian does get into that. I know Basic Magic does get into it. Basic Magic and the Magickian are basically the same book. It's just the Magickian is a little bit more in depth. But it's also the book Creating Magical Entities get into this. But basically, like what we were saying, each of the elements are just categories, right, for energy. So if you wanted, say you wanted to create an entity to help you attract a sexual partner. So what energy does sexuality fall under? It falls under water. Yeah, you might have some fire in there, right, for passion, sex. You might have some earth in there, right, to have like an abundant relationship. You might have some air in there so y'all can have some kick-ass conversations all the time. But ultimately, it's going to fall up under water. So what I would do is I would gather as many correspondences with water as possible. Mook mentioned in the book, the water element is going to correspond up under the full moon, right? Full circle, you said. But yeah, so you would probably do the ritual under the full moon. You probably get a blue candle, right? Unless you wanted to take it to planetary magic, then you might get a green candle to go with Venus. But yeah, the main thing with the elements and creating a spirit is it's the correspondence law. As above, so below. You get all the correspondences down and you create it. Right? When you make your sigil, you make sure to include like any words that have to do with the water, with your intention. You just mix all of it together and make it your own. All right, it's just like creating a character for a story, for a novel, for a cartoon or comic book. You put all these elements together. You're creating a being, right? You take different pieces out of this cosmic soup of energy and you put it all in one place for a specific purpose, right? If it's I want to find a wild sex partner, that's your intent, and you condense it, you break it down, then you start adding all the different elements to it. You know, the color blue, you're going to do it under a full moon. You know what I'm saying? This, that, and the third, you put it all together, and then you do your ritual.
mm-hmm. Simple as that. Simple as that. Yep. And just
Trap
like
coming
you
with the love magic.
Probably because I've done that the most, but
yeah, and just like you were saying, sci-fi in your video earlier, um, I think you were saying how these entities that we're creating, these magical entities that we're creating, are us. So,
yeah,
you know, you can even correlate it to um, the chakra system, okay, with these
yeah,
elements. So, dealing with
yeah,
the chakras, the earth, the root, right? The earth, that's physical, your physical home, your cars, your possessions, and all of that.
mm-hmm,
Liquid would be what is it, sacral chakra, where your fluidity, your emotions, your emotional body. Uh,
yeah,
what's next? Solar plexus, the sun, the gas, the heat or whatever. and then
Hmm.
the heart you get into the ether, the
That's the
realm,
air.
yeah, the air, or and all of that. So yeah, you can correlate it like that. If you was, I don't know if you was trying to correlate it like that, sci-fi, but yeah, yes, yes, yes. Let's get into it. Okay, so do we have to tap into the zodiacs with this, with these elements before we get off of this thing?
I mean, if y'all want to, we touched on it a little bit, but if y'all want to,
Oh shit! You know how them zodiacs do. A
yeah.
thing I noticed with the zodiacs, like we all came into these gateways, right? These portals of existence and everything. And that dude Martin Kinney, he has a good breakdown on this whole thing too, in his flat Earth thing. I meant to send you that too, Trav. I forgot, but it was a good video on flat Earth, and he kind of made a physical model of spirit, basically, of how we travel in this thing. Kinda, not really. It's just his theory. But
Hmm.
anyway, the zodiacs corresponding to the time. Um, can't really remember what particular element dealt with which one. Let me find it real quick. Or does anybody have it off the top of their head? Babe, you got it?
What?
You got it, the
What you
zodiacs at
say?
the time
The
frame?
zodiacs and the
Do you have the
time.
zodiacs in the time frame for the family? The zodiacs and
I'm
the
not.
elements, I mean.
I don't really. I don't really get
Hold
that
on,
deep.
hold on.
I'm sorry, you got kids yelling too. But I don't really get that deep into the zodiacs and the elements. I know what I am, air. I know you are a earth sign. I think Mook will be better with that because she does like the air signs, Gemini, Aquarius, Libra. See, I only know what me and you correlate to. So
Mhm.
Mook, you can tell everybody else which zodiac goes
I just
which
found
The
element.
elements,
Hmm.
because it's okay. So I mean, it you're everything gets broken down into four, like they said, the four elements. So you
or
have
yeah.
air, which is going to be Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. You have fire, which is going to be Sagittarius, Leo, Aries. You have earth, which is going to be Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. And then you have water, which is going to be Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. And the thing with those is that everybody, has a mixture of everything within their chart. But some of us, the way that we, have built ourselves in this lifetime is, more of one or the other. So for me, I'm very earthy, very watery, things like that. And you can kind of tell a lot about elements, even um, dealing with people when you're talking to them. So like if I was to first ever have a conversation with um like Trav, for instance, I'm gonna pick up on those air qualities. He's very communicative. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? So you can always see that, and for me, a lot of people pick up on the earthiness within me because I'm very down to earth, very grounded person. Um, then you have like fire people who are always like Sagittarius and stuff like that. Those people, they're always ready to go, always ready to do something, very action oriented people. Sometimes you see people with too much fire or something in their chart, and those are people that tend to be kind of anxious. You know what I'm saying? Because they're dealing with a lot of that fire energy. And then you have like water, very, sensitive people who are very sensitive to other people's emotions, feelings, things like that. That's very water sign people. So like my son, he's a Scorpio. He's very sensitive to other people's energy. So sometimes people will reach out and want to give him a hug and things like that, and he's very watery. So he's like, no, I'm
Mhm.
not doing it. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I'm picking
Right.
up vibrations and things like that. So it
Mhm.
kind of breaks down depending on
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
suggest people to look at their charts too, because it tells you and gives you a good insight on yourself and how you operate,
Mhm.
and things like that. And it also gives you almost a psychology of other people and how they operate too within that. So I definitely would take a look at your charts if you haven't, but they also relate to, like, you have cardinal signs, you have mutable signs,
Mm-hmm.
you have fixed signs, and those break down into their own separate um, four of each in each category as well. So you have mutable people who are more fleshly, like Gemini. That's a mutable sign. You know, people who are easily able to go with the flow and change. Very easily. And then you have like fixed signs. Those are going to be your more stubborn astrological signs. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Then you have cardinal people who are more, those are the leaders of the zodiac, things like that. So it kind of just, you know, everything is broken down into its own categories. But looking at it from an astrological standpoint, it definitely gives you a lot of insight, about how we operate, how people operate, things like that. And it tells a lot about the psychology, how your subconscious mind works, and kind of gives you a clue on where you can pick up energy. So people who are more like me, like I said, I'm more water and earth. So for me, I'm always picking up stones that help me with my solar plexus and sacral
Mm-hmm.
energy so that I can be more action oriented. You know what I'm saying? Or sometimes with that water energy, things like that. And being a earth sign, I pick up on physical sensations, things in the physical very easily. So if there's a change with something on the earth and with the planets and things like that, I feel it, I could feel it within my being, a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of tells you where to pick up or where you lack, and where there's balance needed. So
Yeah, love that, love that, love that. And remember, family, that we're not saying these zodiacs ruling over you. We're just telling you you're human and what your human deals with uh, in this with these different energy signatures. Okay, so it's important for everybody to understand that these energy signatures or personality traits that come upon you um, can embody your being. Okay, but at the end of the day, once we get to that chaotic being realm self, we're above the zodiacs and we're that middle point at 13. Okay, but it is important to understand, your natal chart and how you came to this realm of existence, so you can kind of understand yourself and kind of understand why this journey was called upon you. All right, anybody else want to share? Trav, you got any insights on these zodiacs? The zodiac.
Zodiac, strangely enough, also relate a lot to the goetic spirits that I
Mm,
work with. And so naturally, the Goetia also have a lot of correspondences with the elements. But I've been really trying to research and find, you know what I'm saying, real hardcore detail as far as why we attribute the attributes to the Goetia.
mm,
Even though they have elements and zodiac corresponded with them, they don't really behave associated with their elements in their zodiac. So I'm still looking for why they have their attributions that they do. But anyways, I do find helpful sometimes that working with certain goetic spirits on their date range does seem to give them a little bit of, to me, I guess, a boost in their results. But that's not always the case. It's more importantly how hard you're believing in it. You know what I'm saying? How solid your conviction is.
hmm. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. So yeah, any more questions? Let me look at this chat real quick. Hope I didn't
well,
miss
and
no.
just a side note too, for people who look into the tarot, it's always interesting because um when you look at it, it also relates to, because everything in the tarot relates to the planets as well. So when you look at the tarot and things like that, and you practice with, we know it's just another tool for our subconscious mind. But when you're looking at it, it can also, if you look at the zodiac has so many physical correspondence as well. Like um, what parts of the body even that the zodiac presides over, right? So sometimes you can look at the tarot and you can pick up on, and this is a lot of the things, this is just a secret, but a lot of the things when I do my readings, I can pick up on ailments in people's body based on the tarot, based on their astrological alignment, right? So I can see if there is some type of, affliction within their physical body based on what comes up in the tarot. So I think knowing these different things helps you on a deeper level,
Mm.
in a lot of different ways that we may not pay attention to. So, one thing for myself, like when I'll ask a question to the tarot, and I know that there's an imbalance somewhere. I'm like, well, where is the balance? Where am I needing to put more balance to? And sometimes say something like the Empress will come up, right? So if the Empress comes up, then I'm seeing like, okay, this is related to Venus. Let me pick up on this Venus energy, or let me pick up on whatever. And I even have a book that tells you the physical correspondence to it. So it'll say things like, okay, you need more chamomile in your diet, things like this. And
Mm.
so actually, but that's if you're willing to do deeper work though, So for me, when I see that, I'm looking at everything. Okay, yeah, I haven't been eating this very much, or I haven't been eating that very much. It'll tell you, it corresponds with like cucumber or something. So
Mm.
it's like, okay, I haven't had much of that in my diet lately. Let me incorporate that, just to build up on the energy and things like that. Or, okay, you need more, you need a blood purifier. You know what I mean? You need to put more of this, or, iron or whatever. And so just speaking to the zodiac in the fact that it'll help for people who don't know to know these different alignments. And it's all relative, like Trav was saying. So if you don't believe in it and it doesn't, make you feel any type of way, or whatever, then that's your business. But for those that can relate to it and resonate with that, taking a deeper look at your astrology is important to your physical body as well.
Yeah, it's good. That's good, Mook, because I remember C. Freemanel, and I used to take it. He used to tell us a certain salt we had to take. Was it? It's called I can't
Like
remember.
cell salts.
Yeah, cell salts or something that we had to take in order to for each zodiac, or whichever zodiac you correspond with. So all of this stuff, yeah, all of that is still in play, because it's at the end of the day, just like I said, you come into this realm of time for a specific purpose, and it's up to you to be, the Sherlock Holmes, to figure out why I came here, and why did I came at this specific time, and how is it going to benefit me on this journey. So yeah, yeah, I think it was called cell salts or something like that. Something like that. Haritaki. Yeah, I used to take that. That is some ooh wee. Yeah, thyself. Share that book with us, man. Whenever you get a chance, try to put it in the thing. Anything else? Cell salts. Yeah. Anything else, family? Anybody else got any questions in the chat before we hop off of this thing, man? It's been a powerful share.
Yeah, it
Uh,
has.
hopefully y'all learn. I know y'all learned something. Um, like I said, man, these elements, this magic, get into your work. Get into your work, and make sure you believing in yourself when you're doing this work. Because at the end of the day, if you don't believe in you, then shit, nobody else is. Because I don't have time to believe in you. It starts with you, 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 you. So make sure you do that. I'm gonna try to find that paper, or the Word document we built with the colors and the elements and all of that aligning up, so I can share it with the family, man. Pretty sure I could find it in my Facebook. It was on my old thing. But yeah, for all the beginners, try to tap into that. Make sure you tap into these elements and just understanding the basis of what's going on with the elements in your mind. Okay, just getting a kind of knowing about. Okay, I now understand this. Now I don't have to touch it or whatever. So yeah. Anybody else before we hop off of this thing? Anything else? Any insights?
Nope, I think
I
we
love,
covered it.
yeah,
What happened? Oh, that's it.
I love this live stuff, man. I was avoiding it for a long time, because I like to have peace and calm. So I thought maybe going live would be a little bit too chaotic, but even even just reading the comments and the questions from people, it kind of gives me a sense of energy. I think we really should do this more often.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. You already know we'll get it in. We just did a live on that. We did a live one of these days with Sirius when that Sirius Media went down or something like that,
Yeah, yeah,
and that was kind of random. So
right.
I mean, it's kind of like, yeah, we'll definitely get it in when we can, man, because it's all about the community, sharing with the community and building and just understanding, each other's understandings, which is powerful in itself because something that Trav says can touch a whole different thought in reality, or something that Mook says can touch somebody in a certain way that'll make their journey go a lot smoother. So yeah, it's just powerful when we do these things. We obviously you can tell we bring magic, especially with us these four elements we are.
Yeah.
Look at that. The four elements. We in here again.
Are
Yeah,
we
so
each, are we each a different one?
ooh.
Ooh. What me and Dream are both earth signs. That's that Virgo Capricorn. And then
Uh-huh.
uh you and
I'm an
him are
air
what,
sign.
air? Yeah, both you guys is air signs. So we got the air and the earth happening.
Interesting.
That's interesting. Okay, well that's communication.
Yeah, and
That's a lot of communication right there. And
Oxide
you know,
communication.
it's a lot of, and that's a lot of higher communication too. And I always say, for me personally, and when I look at, because I look at my chart and stuff like that, and they say where your south node is your is, or your midheaven or something like that, is your last life, right? And in my last life I was a Gemini. And so when I see it, I'm like, people don't give Geminis enough credit. Y'all low-key geniuses, you just don't know what to do with it all the time. But I'm like that, those air signs, you the ideas, the concepts, I think that's a air sign thing, that you guys just pick up on so many ideas and thoughts and things like that. So like that's crazy to me. And very musical people as well.
mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. So yeah, man, we definitely gonna try to tune in a lot more, family. I just appreciate everybody in the chat room. I'll make sure y'all go follow D Ray, follow Mook, and follow Trav, man. Y'all follow these pages so we can keep on building this community, like and share, so this community can expound. You know what I'm saying? We got people to
Yeah.
kick out the haters or the people that can't understand it yet. They not gonna be here. But to the chaos beings that's here, that understands and that knows, oh yeah, this is great, man. This is great builds and great shares.
I want
Yeah.
to give a shout out also to a lot of these names that I've been seeing here pretty much every time I go live. You know what I'm saying? Sean Harris, what up? Straight Panther, Woke Media, Zoe Genie, One Thyself, Immense Rock. You just sent me that email. It was pretty long, but it was cool. Buddy Freeman, Jasmine Payton, Mercury Decorator, all y'all. Thanks for coming in constantly. It's people like y'all that give us.
Absolutely.
So Appreciate y'all and everybody else. I'm just reading names off the list. I'm not making anybody more special than the other.
Yes,
No, but
yes.
that's for sure because they do, especially my dog Sean in there. I can't see the chat on my phone because it takes me out of the hangout. But
Mm,
definitely there's a lot of people that we see in the community consistently who I know for a fact is got to be doing the work because I always see y'all. You know what I'm saying? No matter
Right.
if I'm on another page, and there's other pages that I even, sometimes I'll patron and look at and kind of see like, oh, okay, you know, if it's in alignment with me and if it resonates. And sometimes I see y'all in the comments over there. I'm like, look at my people out here getting the knowledge. What's
mhm.
going
Yeah.
on? And especially I think you said woke media too. And I think was it woke media that posted some of those Bobby videos after everything had got shut
Oh
down
yeah,
on
yeah,
serious
yeah.
time.
He,
So
yeah.
shout out to the family. You know what I'm saying? Because we need that. You know what I'm saying? It's
Help.
like, nah, woke media came with them videos like, no, I got you, family. We ain't going
Yeah.
nowhere.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Look.
Yep. Yep. A whole plethora of that. So shout out to you, Woke Media. We appreciate you, Sci-Fi, for just dropping all that jewels again. Because and then you also go patronize Serious Times Media. Also, they going through their thing. They have a little thing where they're telling their side of the story with this whole YouTube thing. So y'all go patronize them, man. And I appreciate everybody in this chat. Like we said, man, we just one big community, man. The next chapter is symbols. Symbols. Oh, we're gonna have fun with that. We should do that soon.
Yes.
And that's gonna be real fun with that. Um, it's always good that even if you kind of understand the ideas and stuff, family and the community, that you always come back and join us again because you never know what kind of perspective or what kind of turn this thing might take. Um, so yeah, I just appreciate y'all, family, for staying down with us, and we'll see y'all next time. Peace
Peace.
out.
Peace.